Hi, Ed. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
How's Alex? I saw him on social media cracking me up today.
Yeah, he's being a real trooper. He's motivated, so we're optimistic. He's still got to clear a few hurdles with medical, but things are trending really well.
Do you go back and look at, I mean, it didn't look like watching the in card it wasn't like he got too low going into that corner or anything. The car just stepped out on him. Is that just the nature of driving Indy?
Yeah, it happens sometimes. We're even when it seems comfortable, you're still on the limit. Don't have a pure explanation as to what happened. They're kind of going a little slower than normal too with the checkup. So it was real windy. It's just one of those things. Sometimes it happens, but he was really happy and comfortable with the car up to that point. So you just got to jump back on the horse and move on.
Is this your best team overall you've had at Indy?
I mean, we've had some good ones, but definitely the three of us work really well together. The cars have good speed. We've all been really happy. I'd say for the most part, we've all had pretty much just good days. With a few moments where we've had to make some adjustments, but the cars have responded really well all month long to changes, and we've always been able to get them right back to where we want. So I feel like we've got a strong opportunity in front of us Sunday with all three cars.
Explain to me, like, for a lot of people to understand, I mean, the run up to the Indy 500, working on these three cars. How many weeks now have you been there? I mean, I know you're working it all season, but how long has it just been focusing on these cars?
I mean, these cars were being built over the off season, so we didn't bring these cars to the track until we showed up at the speedway. So there's been a lot of time, effort, and energy building these. Alex will be going to a backup car, which was actually going to be a speedway car at one point too. So he's going to have another great car under him. But with this being such a massive event, the most important one on our schedule, there's a lot of time and love that goes into these cars.
Your experience at Indy, obviously, and seeing, I watch Rasmussen drive, and the way he drives on ovals, damn. I mean, we've seen him win. I'm the track announcer at the Detroit Grand Prix, so I've been very fortunate to watch him come up as well. Him and Kyle Kirkwood both. I mean, you see him; they've won in every series, but I'm watching him. There's something special when he gets on an oval. That Milwaukee race last year, if people haven't watched it, good Lord, that you see it firsthand. It feels to me like there's something going on with him as a young driver.
Yeah, he's relentless. He's super talented, especially when it comes to oval racing. So if he's at the front come late race, he's going to be a tough one to beat for sure.
What is it? I mean, you always hear the term about, it's organized chaos, or towards the end of a race, or the concept to me of you have to be aggressive, but there's such a fine line for you as a driver. Do you teach the younger guys that? Do you talk about it as a team where you want to be the last 20?
Yeah, we work on it a lot. We talk about it a lot when we're on track together. We try to simulate different things. The end of the race kind of ends up being like high speed chess. You're positioning yourself laps ahead of time to time out your move at the right point to where you can hold on to the bricks.
Are you explain to me, like, obviously I get to watch road courses here in the Motor City, but to watch it, been to Indy and watch it, the way the downforce is generated in the cars in the corner, because it's really not, what is it, 4 degrees banking?
Yeah, 3.5, 4 degrees, not
That's
much.
nothing. That's nothing. Do you even feel that in the car? I mean, how do you
Yeah, you do. You do. Not as much as you would at other ovals that we've been to in the past. But it's better than nothing. Milwaukee's a little flatter than here, and you notice that. So there's enough that it gives us a little support. But yeah, we're relying heavily on the downforce of the cars and the Firestone rubber and the mechanical grip, from our ride heights and springs and things like that.
how different, that's what I was gonna ask you about, is the change of the car. So the car that you worked all on off season, you get it there, and then you get it on the track. How many changes have gone into these cars during this period ramping up for the 500 this Sunday?
I mean, we had an open test 3 or 4 weeks ago. We really did a lot of work at that and zeroed in on kind of what we called our baseline car. From there, you're really just tinkering with conditions. At Indianapolis, depending on how windy it is, which direction the wind's blowing, if it's sunny, if it's cloudy, it can make you make some minor adjustments to the car for those conditions. So a lot of what we've done over the past week and a half is really just be prepared different different types of days that we could have on race days. So we haven't strayed too far from what is baseline other than tweaks here and there for different conditions that represent.
Is it as simple as a trade-off that you sometimes you're trading off? straight line speed for cornering? I mean, is it, we always, anyone who plays like a video game or iRacing, you kind of think that of that mindset. Is it that simple?
At times, I mean, you definitely match, downforce changes with temperature and track temperature. So you're trying to match that up always. But the wind direction can play a lot. Sometimes you have to put a little more stability in. But yeah, you're balancing out that downforce and drag for the day without a doubt.
And I've always been told that you guys are looking at the flags when you're going down the backstretch. Is that true?
Yeah, there's a windsock on the top of the turn three spotter stand, and you can also see the windsock on the pylon on the front straight. So you're keeping an eye on that because as it shifts and gets gusty, it'll change what the car's doing from corner to corner. When you look at an aerial photo of this racetrack, that all four corners look the same. They don't necessarily all feel the same, especially when you put weather conditions at play.
Is second place the worst feeling in the world? What is it like being in second place? And I know
Uh,
that's a horrible question to ask, but I'm just curious that you're
well,
stuck there, or
yeah, I've been there. I finished second to Will in
I remember.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Anywhere else, second place, you can, find some happiness with, but here it's such a hard race to win that you really do feel just like the first loser more than second place. There's only one thing that matters here, and it's winning.
Do you remember the first time you saw an Ed Carpenter Racing car on the track? Your name, you're the owner. The first time it rolled out at Indy.
Oh yeah, I mean it was 2012. I was behind the wheel, so it was a big moment of pride for me for sure.
Do you, even in the midst of all this, as an owner, and you've got three teams going, and obviously what you're doing during the 500, and I really appreciate you taking time out during this crazy week to do this. And do you still have times where you can step back and take it in and realize what you're in the middle of and how amazing it is to be an IndyCar driver?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that I've really tried to get better at as my career has progressed. This is 23 for me. That when I think back to my rookie year, there's so many things that I don't even remember that I didn't reflect on. Everything about this month is special, not just the days that we're in the car. So as you mature and really understand what makes this race so spectacular, you do try to relish all the small things along the way, because you never know how many chances you're going to get.
Pagano told me once that the last 20 laps of the Indy 500 was the most mentally draining thing of his life. That he said there's nothing quite like it. Can you explain what it's like?
Yeah, when you're at the front of this race and in that last stint after our last pit stop, and you've got an opportunity to win, the intensity level rises so high of those top five to maybe six cars that have a chance. You're on the limit, basically doing qualifying laps, taking risks like crazy to position yourself to be at the front, and it's definitely a mental drain. I'm sure you've heard people talk about qualifying here too. Four
Oh
laps
yeah.
can seem like an eternity, and it's the same type of intensity just because it takes maximum commitment and effort, each corner.
Is there a dump afterwards? And when after the 500, no matter what happens, is there like just your body just at some point just goes, we need to take a break?
Yeah, there's a pretty big emotional letdown when it's all over. I haven't experienced what it's like after winning the race, but I'm sure it's the same. I've described it a couple times. It's for anyone that like went away to summer camp as a kid. That kind of like sickening feeling when you have to leave and go home and get back to reality. That's kind of what I equate leaving the speedway as at the end of the month, just because we pour so much into it, and then it's over and you got to wait a year for another chance. But the good news is we get to come to Detroit the next weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah, DetroitGP.com for tickets. And of course, the races here on Fox 2 locally. Um, I think this is your team's best chance to win this year. I feel like you guys working together, but just the fact that you've had speed all month. I mean, that practice for qualifying, Christian he was top of the charts, right? I mean, you see that that's real speed. How does that manifest itself in the race? Do you have to temper it a little bit? I mean, or do you just foot to the floor, let it go?
Yeah, you kind of got to send it nowadays. It's so competitive. You can't really wait and not get shoved back. So you've got to keep the intensity up. But without a doubt, we've got three great cars, three great opportunities to go out and do something really special as a team.
I was thinking about this is so weird. I was thinking about some of the old school cars. People always ask you, who'd you like to drive against? If you could have a front row of any drivers from the past and you're right in the middle of them, who would you want in the front row with you at Indy?
You know, Probably Rick Mears and AJ. They're two of the greats. I would name Allenser Jr. too because he was a hero, but I actually got a race against him in 2005. So I'll name those other two because I never got to share the racetrack with them.
Is there a car? Because I always look at the turbine, the Granatelli with that STP car, and just wonder what that must have been like to drive it. Are there some of the old some of the older platforms you look at and go like, some of the Lolas or any of those that you want to get some laps in?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love all the old cars, but for me, it would be the Renards from the like 95, 96 that already set the record in. I would have loved to have felt what that was like to, we're close, but I would have loved to have gone 236, 237 average, which we're not far off, but maybe someday.
You're doing explain to people now your lap times at race pace, you're going to be doing 220, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 218 to 222 in a draft average. But in qualifying, my qualifying average was 230.8. Pole was 232. It doesn't 4 miles an hour doesn't seem like a lot, but every mile an hour you get at those speeds is quite a big jump. So those mid 90 speeds I would love to experience.
Have you noticed, as fans, we've noticed that it feels the field front to back is as good as it's ever been. There are no back markers anymore.
No, it's crazy competitive. I mean, going into qualifying, Alex obviously had a great day qualifying second. All three of our cars, I think, had the potential to be in the Fast Six, and we had a little hiccup on my run, and I knew that was going to be kind of the situation. It was going to be pretty easy to be, anywhere from sixth to 20th. It's so tight through that middle chunk of the field, and we landed smack dab in the middle of it.
Again, thank you so much for the time, Ed Carpenter, Ed Carpenter Racing, getting ready for Indy, of course, and right afterwards up here for the Detroit Grand Prix. I tell everybody, DetroitGrandPrix.com. Watch the races on Fox 2. As a fan watching the Indy 500, tell me what to look for. How do I know somebody's dialed in? Is it as simple as them being up front, or is there something else that maybe we a little more nuanced?
I mean, obviously, cars that are consistently up front through the whole race, you're going to want to keep an eye on. But anyone else that you see kind of picking their way through traffic, mid stints, any in the middle of the field, if you can pass cars in the middle of the pack, you've got a really good car, and they're going to be, someone to watch out for when they do get up front.
Would you ever want to take a shot at the Gordon Johncock no speed limit in pit lane and just like in 82 and just take a run at it?
I don't know, that stuff is pretty crazy. I like the crew guys too much to put them in that much harm.
I showed somebody that video and it doesn't seem real. You just watch him. He
Uh,
said that Andretti said they tried it in practice and they were doing 140 when well, how fast when you come off the track? Obviously, what is your pit lane speed is
60
yeah,
miles an hour here
but 60. And when you actually come down though, you're
into
going
the box.
from on
Yeah,
what?
we're 60 to 0 in about 4.5 seconds.
That's
So you're
still
you're
a lot.
charging in pretty hard.
Yeah, that's a lot of torque, man. Well, I appreciate the time, Ed. Have fun, be safe, win, drink some milk this Sunday. You got a good vibe. You've got to have a good vibe about this.
Yeah, I do. It's
You-
great talking to you, and hopefully we have a great weekend, and we'll be celebrating together in Detroit.
Come on up, man. We can't wait to see you here. DetroitGP.com. Everything on Fox 2. Ed Carpenter. Appreciate you.